Here's my song for the miner, Canadian miner. Let me tell you, he's a hard-working, hard-drinking, fun-loving family man. My daddy was a miner in a small Cape Breton town. For 18 years he risked his life each day that he went down. In a dark and cold and dirty hole a mile beneath the sea, he'd sweat and slave in a living...
My grandfather was a coal miner, and he started working in the mines at a very young age. I would say, I think he's 12 or 13 years old. And when he died of black lung. And since then, and that was in the 70s, I always felt really compelled to tell the story of my grandfather. And when I went into broadcasting and radio and television in the 80s, it was always my thought in the back of my mind to make a film about the about the coal mines. And my mom died a couple of years ago, and I told her that I was going to dedicate a film to her dad, and also about the coal miners as well, called In My Blood. And it's about the life and tough times of coal miners from Cape Breton.
Okay, where do things stand with your documentary right now, first of all? How far along are you, and how much farther to go?
Well, I'm still taping. I was here last year. I taped a few interviews, and I met with a lot of coal miners. And so I'm back here again, and I'm going to be taping a few interviews with some miners, and also I'm going to be around Coal Dust Days, and people can meet me there during Coal Dust Days. And on the 18th, we're going to be on Plummer Avenue in front of Lawton's
yeah.
Drugstore, and to meet the filmmaker, and also to raise a bit of money to help complete the film, because basically I'm working on this with my own money, and I'm coming all the way from Toronto, so it's costing me quite a bit of money, but really it's a labor of love and respect for my grandfather and to all the other miners. And I also feel that the story really needs to be told, just so people can understand what it was really like for the miners. Because I don't think people even realize what it was like for miners and what kind of struggles they had and the things that they had to do in order to put bread on the table. It was quite a dangerous job.
You hope to have it finished by 2015, but of course that deadlines are deadlines, right?
Well, the reason why I said 2015...
I mean that you don't have to keep them. You just...
No, but the reason why I said 2015, because I want to see if Duncan opens. And I want to be there in order to show that there's actually mining coming back into Cape Breton. I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but that would be the ending, would be like, talking about the history of the coal mines, what it was like for coal miners during the time that the mines were open, what it was like after the coal mines closed down, and what's going to happen if another mine does open.
What have you found so far? Is it difficult obtaining the information or researching, or is it difficult, as we talked before this interview, difficult getting people to talk about what it was like?
I think that the miners are kind of shy, and they also feel that maybe their story isn't important because they lived it, and all the other miners too. They just say, well, I'm a miner. Like, well, you don't realize what you did. And it's something that once they understand that, the story needs to be told, because now there's nothing left, they're more apt to talk to me and tell their story, their compelling story about what it was like for them when they worked in the mines, and also the camaraderie, which is kind of hard to find these days, which you don't see very often, what it was like for them. And also, would they go back? And even though it was a dangerous situation, they'll go back because they were dedicated, and they're an honorable bunch of people. And also, which I found kind of intriguing, is the nicknames that they had for each other. And even if somebody passed away and they didn't know who that guy was unless they knew who the nickname was. And that's something that you don't find in any job. I hadn't heard about that before. So it's kind of intriguing to me, and I really think that once the miners hear my story and they know that I'm a coal miner's granddaughter, they'll want to talk to me. And I'm just down to earth.
So, but you've probably talked to the few that you have talked to so far. have told you. You mentioned the camaraderie and all that, and how they didn't think it was special.
Yeah.
Any miner that I've ever talked to was just doing his job.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
And they didn't think it was special at the time.
No.
Because they had to make a living.
That's right.
And they had to feed their families.
What else can you do? And now that everything is gone, and since the mines closed down, what's happening with them now? That's what I'd like to find out. Like, I know, but I want to put that on tape for the world to see. At this point, I probably will have it in festivals and some private screenings, and I'm planning on coming back here and having all the miners that were in the film to watch the film, and also whoever else wants to come and see it. So I'll probably have it down in Glace Bay, Nova Scotia.
You know that there were, once, you probably have this fact somewhere in your research already, 11 operating coal mines just in Glace Bay alone?
Yes.
And so not taking into consideration the neighboring communities in Waterford, Sydney Mines, and so on. 14,000 people were employed in the coal mining industry.
Unbelievable.
So imagine how much of an effect that has had on this area.
That's basically why I'm doing this. Yeah. And I think it's very important that people understand what has happened down here to the coal mining and other industries as well.
So you said it's personal for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love and respect for my grandfather and other miners. I remember when my grandfather died from black lung, it was pretty devastating for my family. He had a family of 21 children that he raised on a coal miner's salary, and that in itself is amazing.
You probably find there's still lots of homes that coal miners grew up in that are still
homes.
Company homes in the local area.
Absolutely.
So is there lots to work with in terms of what you're going to tape for your documentary?
Well, because all the mines have closed down, there's hardly anything to see. But in a few days, I'm going around with someone who's going to show me. He basically knows the histories of the mines. Yeah. And what he's going to do, he's going to show me where all the mines were in Glace Bay and surrounding areas. And then he's going to talk a little bit about the histories of those mines and show me pictures of what it used to look like and what it looks like now. So I'm going to get that on tape.
Yeah.
So people will get a sense of, what it was really like and what it actually looks like now since everything is gone and closed down.
Tell me about Wild Spirit Films, because In My Blood is just one project that you have on the go, right? So what is your film company, and what do you do on a regular basis?
I'll tell you how many people I employ. Just me. Wild Spirit
Films. Keeps the overhead down.
Oh,
right?
My goodness. I'm an independent filmmaker. I make films about cultural, historical, socially driven documentaries. Also, I do promo videos for bands. That's just to put a bit of money in my pocket, but mostly it's all about the history of Canada that I'm very interested in. So this one is the biggest one I've worked on so far, which is I've been trying to make this film for quite a few years now, and I've started up a Facebook page called Cape Breton Miners Tribute page, and I did that 8 years ago. So now there's over 2,000 people on that page, and there's miners on there, and they're posting their own photographs from back in the day. And they also talk to each other now, and a lot of them had met up since they've gone into the page, and they're meeting their friends, and they're talking online on Facebook about what it was like for them while they were working in the mine. So that's really a great thing. I also have another Facebook page called In My Blood, the coal mining documentary. So that basically goes over that particular documentary. And I have wildspiritfilms.ca. That's my website. And it's in the works right now. I don't have much on there, but people can go on there and see the films that I've made so far, and then keep track of what I'm doing, and they can join as a member. And if they have something that they want me to film and they're interested in thinking that's something that I would like to do, that they think I should do, then they can contact me anytime.
So how did you get into this? How did you get started in documentary filmmaking?
Well, I started broadcasting radio and television in the 80s. When I was very young, and I continued on to work in television and different radio, TV stations as a camera operator, and then I worked on some social documentaries with other people, and then over time I just kind of honed in on my skills, and I went back to school for advanced film and television a few years ago, a reputable college, Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario. And after that, I made a few films in there, and I'm still going. So it's kind of like in my blood.
No pun,
no pun intended.
Because it's a tough business to be in.
Well,
it?
let me tell you about the Canadian documentary industry right now, and the filming industry. There's no money, and it doesn't matter who you talk to, whether if the person is a newbie or if they've been in film for many years. If you talk to major documentary filmmakers, they'll tell you that they can't get funding. It is unbelievable. So they go to the States and they do their filming there, and then they come back here. But our Canadian film industry isn't very good at this point.
Isn't making of documentaries a way of preserving
it's supposed
the history
to.
of our country?
You would think that it's part of our arts and our culture, but we're falling by the wayside, and I think that the internet plays a big part in that. And people just going online and not paying for things, I think that kind of changes things. Yeah. It changes the landscape.
Yeah, social media has changed everything, right?
The social media has changed. I mean, we're all part of that.
You use it as well.
Yes, and so, you need to take advantage of it. And that's why I'm here today, because without that, you probably wouldn't have heard about me.
No, as a matter of fact, we were saying earlier, that's probably where it was on Twitter that I heard about this and heard that you were making the documentary and so on, and thought it would make an interesting interview. So it works both ways.
It does.
Yeah, but not always great. Not always good.
Not always good. And it cost, well, they say it cost around $300,000 to make a documentary, and from start to finish by the time you pay for everything. Because you have to pay for archival footage, which is about like $150 a minute of film. If you need something from back in the day, from, say, for instance, CBC, you got to pay for that minute of footage, and people don't realize, and there's also all kinds of things that you have to pay for. So because I'm doing this on my own, I decided that I wanted to meet the filmmaker, but it's also, if anyone wants to help me complete the film, I'd really appreciate it. Yep. And they can see me on the 18th, like I said earlier, during Coal Dust Days.
Or they can contact you on your site. And make a donation or whatever the case may be.
Yes, if you go to Wild Spirit Films, there's also a donation page on there that you can help out. And if you want to be anonymous, that's fine. If not, you can put your name in there. And if you want me to say who you are, that's fine. If not, then I won't. But everyone that does contribute, they get their name in the credits. Which is a good thing. A lot of people want to see themselves.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with having your name in the credits.
And I have some great music that was donated to me from a few artists. So I'm going to be showcasing Cape Breton artists as well in the film. So everything is from down here. Yeah. It's not from anywhere else. So everyone will recognize themselves and recognize their neighbors and recognize the fact that, where Cape Breton Island is right now in terms of coal mining.
Did your grandfather tell you stories about coal mining?
My grandfather, because he was so busy and I was so young at the time, I didn't hear about the stories, but I did see the results. He was a very great strapping man, and he ended up being less than 100 pounds, and it really took a toll on my mom's family. And I saw what happened to him. I didn't understand it at the time, but as the years went by, I always thought about it in the back of my mind about, that was a horrible thing that happened to him.
That story That story lived out 1,000 times over.
Absolutely.
Down here. Yeah.
And I really would like to say to any of the miners that are listening right now, don't be shy. If you have a story to tell, it doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call or contact me on Facebook, or you can call me. I can give you my number if that's a possibility.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 647-866-1134. That's a cell phone, but I'll pick it up and I'll talk to you about it. And if you want, I can come and talk to you, and you can tell your story. I'd appreciate it very much.
So you're here for the next few days?
I'm going to be here
you're
for
working.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're working.
Yes, I am.
And working, and ultimately you hope to put this together. And you set a deadline at 2015, but nobody's going to hold you to it.
It might be sooner.
It might be sooner.
Yeah.
Depends on the material you can gather.
Yeah, well, I want an ending, and the ending that I thought was, if Duncan Mine is opening up, we call it Donkin.
I don't mean
Dunkin'
to correct
Donuts.
you. I don't mean to correct you, but I know you're from Toronto.
Well, I say it differently. Yes, Donkin. Because I'm thinking about Dunkin' Donuts for some reason. It's kind of the same name. Excuse me, people.
No, that's okay. It's just that anybody who would hear it would say, "What's she talking
what is
about?"
She saying?
Well, anyway, look.
Sorry.
It sounds to me like you've taken on a lot here. This is a big project.
It is
for one person, but I'm sure you're quite capable of getting it to its conclusion. And hopefully people will, hear this and contact you on whatever media is available and give you the help that you require. You're basically looking. There's still lots of stories that people have out there to tell.
Absolutely.
And really, my personal opinion is that they should be told and they should be heard by other people.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate the interview, and
we'll
it was really great meeting you.
Well, we'll keep in touch because we'll keep up to date on how In Your Blood is going, and I don't think it would hurt, to keep reminding people that you're out there and that you're looking for people to talk to. And as you said, miners sometimes are shy.
They are
in some circumstances.
Well, it's not like they're on the radio every day.
No, exactly, and it's been it's the heritage around here that there's a great wealth of information that's out there that maybe you can, I hope, can put together and capture on in your documentary for people to see for years to come.
Well, I think they'll love it.
He's gone now, and God rest his soul. His words I remember well. A miner goes to heaven's son. He's already been to hell. Here's my song for the miner, Canadian miner, let me tell you. He's a hard-working, hard-drinking, fun-loving family man. Here's my song for the miner, Canadian miner. Here's my song for the miner, Canadian miner. Here's my song for the miner, Canadian miner. Here's my song.